We've got the Specialized Stumpjumper 15. This is like the hottest bike on the internet right now. I can't get on YouTube without seeing someone tell me how great this bike is. I ended up buying this frame from backcountry.com. You can click the link down below to look at all the details about like the head tube angle and all that stuff. Backcountry.com still has some of these in stock. If you click the link down below, that's an affiliate link. I get paid a small commission if you end up buying this frame. I took the frame to my local bike shop, Salt Cycles, and they kind of built it all up. If you'll notice, most of my bikes I build up with Shimano drivetrain. You know, I throw XTR in there. But this bike doesn't have any holes in the front for a cable, for a rear derailleur. So my mechanical drivetrain didn't get put on this bike. I'm running SRAM. And after 3 weeks, I'm actually enjoying it. I've had about a dozen rides on this thing. Come on this ride with me today. We'll talk about how it climbed, how it descends, who it's for. I'll even talk about how it kind of compares to the old Specialized Stumpjumper Evo. It's more like that bike than the regular Stumpjumper. Of course, you guys probably know that. This is 145 millimeters of travel in the rear with a 150 millimeter fork, 64.5 degree head tube angle, 77 degree seat tube angle, pretty steep. I'm riding an S3 and I'm 5'8". Come on this ride with me. Today's video is sponsored by Nolly Eyewear. Okay, so right through that section, the rear end got hung up just a little bit. The old Stumpjumper Evo would do that to me every once in a while too. Feels really active and open, but then every once in a while I'll grab an edge and it kind of gets hung up. Man, I can tell where they've kind of blended the two bikes. I mean, it feels, I would say I don't have probably as much confidence on this bike as I did on the previous Stumpy Evo. And that's after 6 days of riding now. Wow, it's hard to say. It just feels like it doesn't quite find traction as good as the old Evo. Fun bike though, it feels fast. It just kind of skips along the top of everything more than the old Evo did. Today's video is sponsored by Nolly Eyewear. For me, my sunglasses have got to fit my helmet. That's step one on whatever glasses I'm going to wear. For the last 7 years that I've been doing this YouTube channel, I've been wearing Smith Optics glasses. They're 200, come in here. They're 240 freaking bucks, and I've lost 2 pairs of them. My wife ran into Nolly Eyewear at one of my daughter's bike races. They had a booth set up. There are a bunch of college kids that started this glasses company, and all the kids are wearing them. She ended up buying a pair, and she wears them every day. On vacation, on bike rides, to the gym, she always wears them. So when I lost yet another pair of 240 freaking dollar glasses, she said, just go get some of these Nollys from that Nolly brand. So sure enough, I did. They even come in photochromic, where the lens changes color from dark to light, depending on if you're going in shadows or not. I tested to make sure they fit my helmet. They do. I've been wearing these for like the last month and I love them. They're inexpensive, and right now they're 25% off to viewers of this channel. Use promotional code YUMYUM at checkout. You're getting inexpensive glasses that if you lose, you're not gonna be ticked about, which I'm still ticked that I lost my stupid Smith glasses. You're helping out a local Utah brand and some young kids who just graduated college and are starting a new company. I see kids wearing these, I ride with the high school kids, and I see kids wearing these glasses all the time. I love them. Pick yourself up a pair, get a pair for your kids. They're 25% off right now. You can't beat it. Yeah. Wow, I mean, that's a super high-speed trail, first of all. And we were cooking. Wow. Yeah, I think I might add a click or two of compression there. I would say I felt more confident on the old Evo after 6 days on this. I would say on rowdy, high-speed stuff like that, I think I would have rather been on the Evo. I mean, this is still good, but it feels, I don't know, it feels like a little bit more, you feel the trail more for sure. Okay, so climbing on this bike, it definitely climbs better than the previous Specialized Stumpjumper Evo, which is what this bike kind of replaced. This Genie shock feels super like supportive, but still squishy, you know, like it can kind of roll over stuff pretty good, but you don't feel like you're bogging out or bogging down like you do on some, you know, bikes in this category. So I actually think this climbs better than the previous Stumpjumper Evo. And for the category of trail bikes, I think it climbs pretty dang good. Descending on all the blue trails, more moderate speeds, like the normal trails that you see most people riding, the bike's great. It feels like very sporty, it's easy to ride, real natural kind of balanced position on the bike, and I have a lot of fun on it. I mean, one of the things that this new Stumpjumper does incredibly well, especially on these blue flow trails, it just pumps every inch of the trail. Like, for some reason right here, it feels like it's got plenty of support. On the chunkier bits of trail is where I feel like I blow through the travel a little bit and lose that support. But all this section of pumping, oh, you'll see this section right up here, has a ton of pumping in it. And it just feels so like carby. All this section right here, yeah. Just like steers right into every corner. That's fun. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it feels like a smaller bike than 145 mils of travel. It's weird. Here's another part that just wants to eat up this flow trail. Oddly enough, that's something the old Stumpjumper, that single pivot Stumpjumper, did really well too. I realize this is not a single pivot Stumpjumper anymore. It's kind of trying to do in between the Evo and the old Stumpjumper. It jumps really well too. Fun. I swapped that Career Fox Genie shock to have two the volume spacers in it now. And I think that kind of helps out with some of that top end feel when I'm pumping and kind of moving the bike around with my body on this flow trail. But up on Jacob's Ladder through the chunky sections, I don't know, I felt like the bike would kind of give up a little bit. Just a little bit. It didn't have that same support that you get out of like the Yeti SB140 or like a Pivot Switchblade, for example. Those bikes just feel more burly. I don't know. Once the speeds get a little bit higher and the terrain gets a little bit more chundery and I'm kind of going at my limit now, you know, at speeds that I'm uncomfortable at, the bike feels a little uncomfortable to me. I've messed around with the fork and the shock multiple times and I just never got super comfortable at super high speeds on this bike, which is a bummer because the old Stumpjumper Evo, I owned that bike. I rode the wheels off that thing last season. I loved that bike. It felt like I was a part of that bike when I was riding it. And so I was a little bummed when that happened. So this rear shock, it's worth talking about since it's a new shock, it's a Genie. And Specialized makes a great like 2 or 3 minute video, I'll link it down below, that you can go and watch because I'm not going to do it justice talking about this Genie shock. But it's a high volume single chamber shock. Like even right now I'm saying the wrong words. Just go watch the video. It's like 2 or 3 minutes. I'll link it down below. But you can put volume spacers in here very easy. It ships, the bike came with 1 volume spacer in there. That's how I rode it for like the first 8 or 9 rides. Then I put this a second volume spacer in there. And I think it did get a little bit better and I could get the fork after, you know, 8 or 9 or 10 rides. I got the fork feeling a little bit better. But I just felt like at higher speeds, when I come through a turn, it would kind of understeer. I think that's the right word. So it would kind of go away from me as opposed to hook up into the turn. And the more I'd get forward, I could never get comfortable getting forward on the bike, but the bike, I felt like was demanding me to get more forward. You know, like I had to really get a lot of pressure up over that fork. You can also see I've dropped those bars down. I started out about 10 millimeters higher, dropped the bars down, ended up putting more air in the fork, taking more air out of the fork. Anyway, it's been a 3-week saga with this bike. Every once in a while, a bike doesn't gel with me. I love it on the more moderate trails. It feels like it's a part of me. Like I can just zip around everything, and I like getting forward on the bike. Once I get into uncomfortable high-speed terrain or chunky terrain, I just get nervous on this bike. It feels a little nervous, a little sketchy. So could be me. Bike setup, I don't know. Sometimes this happens in reviews. I wish every bike review I did was a glowing review, but you know, me and the new Stumpy 15 have struggled a little bit together, but not the end of the world. Who do I think this bike is for? You know, it's the same category as the Yeti SB140, Ibis Ripmo, the Santa Cruz High Tower. You know, that category of bikes is, you're gonna go ride higher speed stuff, but you don't need a full-blown like enduro, specialized enduro, or a SB160 or something, but you know, you're gonna go do higher speed stuff. For me, I'd have a hard time telling my brother or my friend to go pick this up when those two bikes are on the market. You know, I've got the Yeti SB140 there and the Ibis Ripmo. Man, I'd have a hard time recommending this over those to anyone, especially because there's not even a hole in the front of the bike here to run a cable. And I know the whole world's going electronic shifting, so that's not a fair criticism of the bike. I think a lot of bikes are going to be going that way over the next year or two. What else can I tell you? You know, I love Specialized tires. I really do. I know that sounds terrible, that the best part about this bike is the tires, but this is my SB140 right here. And look, on the front of it, I've got a Butcher, and on the back, I've got a Specialized Eliminator. I love those tires. So that was a lot of fun. But for me, the bike was tough. You know, if I could get these bars lower, or I don't know, something. I just needed more traction up front somehow. The new Genie shock, I think, is a neat idea. I never bottomed out the shock, no matter how hard I was riding. Never felt a bottom out, and it does feel super supple and like soft through all the more flowy type trails. Even though there's rocks and stuff in those trails, there's just like no 1 foot drops or anything like that. No real chunky sections. So yeah, the bike was tough for me. Thanks for watching today's video. Sorry this wasn't a banger one. Every once in a while that happens. Trust me, I look on the internet, I see how the whole world's in love with this bike, and I've been sitting on publishing this video because I'm like, why am I the only person that doesn't like the Stumpjumper? I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Normally I like all the bikes. It's a great time to be a mountain biker. It's October of 2024. Everyone's making incredible bikes. This is a good bike. I would take the previous Specialized Stumpjumper Evo 8 days a week over this thing, you know? And those are on sale still. I think Specialized has tons of those in stock. You can go to their website and check it out. But yeah, sometimes the bike doesn't gel with me. Sorry, guys. Go ahead and leave your comments down below. Don't leave me hate comments. I hate reading them. Anyway, stick around. Next week's video is going to be the head-to-head between the Yeti SB140, the bike that I've been riding for the last season or two, and then the brand new Ibis Ripmo, which I've done a video on. I've been riding those back to back along with this thing, and I'm really excited to share that video with you. I don't know what else to tell you. The bike has in-frame storage. There you go. There's the, there's the plus. All right, thanks for watching, guys.